Coming up on TekThing, we got a Fire TV Cube review. Is Windows Defender all the antivirus you need? Virtual machines for a new operating system? And hey, did you back up today? Get on it, people. It's all coming up on TekThing. A big thank you to our patrons, Jonathan, Rohan, Craig, and James. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing. Thank you so much.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patty Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
Today we will be defending your machines.
From all the bad things in the world.
You shall... Sorry.
What are you, Gandalf now?
Whenever
you shall not pass.
I mean,
it's dangerous to go alone. Take this with you.
Exactly. If you're gonna have something protecting your machine, why not Gandalf? Phil.
That would be awesome, actually.
That would be awesome. Gandalf standing over your machine, glowering. Do not confuse me with... Sorry. Phil writes in, "Hi guys, my name is Phil, and I have for several years bought Norton Antivirus for several machines. I'm wondering if Windows Defender is more than capable of keeping my machine safe, or should I continue paying $100 plus a year for Norton's premium products? Safety is important to me as I run my business on my home PC. Great show. I enjoy watching every week. Phil."
Thank you, Phil.
3 quick thoughts. 1, I have no relationship to that Norton.
No, he doesn't.
I actually still occasionally get emails addressed to Peter Norton.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. 2, I regularly use or am responsible for maintaining at least 8 Windows 7 or 10 PCs. All of them run Windows Defender, except for the one I run the free version of Bitdefender on. Hint, the more gullible, or hint 2, I should say, the more gullible or less tech-savvy a user is, the more likely I am to suggest you run more antivirus or anti-malware software on their machine.
You know, I'm kind of on the agreement there.
Yeah.
So TLDR, yes, I believe that Windows Defender is enough, with a few caveats. So it's enough if you take other precautions to keep your computer secure. Windows Defender, basically by itself, it comes with Windows 10 as a free security system for your PC. Patrick has it pulled up on his computer over here, and it detects malware, viruses, and other intrusions. Since it's straight from Microsoft, it's also designed to integrate seamlessly with the operating system. So whenever some security update happens in Windows, Defender is going to know about it too, and then it automatically updates as well. So it's basically a built-in antivirus. What could go wrong? It's super useful. So do you need to run another antivirus tool on top of that one? I would argue no.
Instead of that one.
Instead of that one.
Whatever you do, do not run like, I'm going to run 2 antivirus tools and catch. Don't do that.
No, you really shouldn't run 2 at the same time, because that would break your machine.
I once had somebody who they couldn't get their machine to function properly. They had 3. Actually, I should say 2 antivirus and 1 anti-malware tool.
The same thing will happen with your browser. If you run multiple blocking applications or extensions at the same time, you might break a website. So that's why I always recommend just running 1 blocker or 1 antivirus and an anti-malware as well.
Although it's funny because you used to have 2 separate ones. Now that a lot of the tools are antivirus and anti-malware and actually pretty good at both.
Yeah.
You were talking about Windows Defender though.
Yes, Windows Defender specifically. So if you look at this as one of the antivirus options out there on the board today, avtest.org, they did a really excellent little rundown of all the different ones that are currently available, all the really popular ones, and Windows Defender did really good. It's up in the 97 percentile or so, so it's doing very good at blocking everything. Of course, other ones are going to be well as well. So in this test, Norton, for example, does fare slightly better than Defender, but of course, just as you mentioned, Phil, it costs $100 per year plus for you, especially since you're running it on multiple machines. Of course, if you're only running it on 1 or 2 and you want to buy the cheapest version, that's only going to cost you, what, $20 or so? But I would only advise that if you are also staying on top of security updates, using an updated browser, an ad blocker, using different passwords everywhere you go, 2-factor authentication, using good internet hygiene, then yeah, Windows Defender is going to be perfectly fine. Never leave your computer alone in a public place. Don't allow people to plug in random thumb drives because they could be USB rubber duckies. Ask me how I know. And I do say use good internet hygiene because no antivirus is going to be perfect. And that is so important.
All it takes, a lot of the break-ins we've seen in large corporations take place because people click on links inside of emails.
Yep, exactly.
Phishing is a problem.
Phishing is an absolute problem, and sometimes those just don't get caught by antivirus because it's not putting something on your system, it's just like stealing creds.
Right.
Criminals and good guys are always at this constant tennis match between one another. Once one security vulnerability is patched, another one opens. So it's best to use each of those different precautions that you have at your disposal as often as you can do them. Of course, even I sometimes forget to set up two-factor authentication, or I hear about it months after a hack or something like that happens. So, it's very hard to stay up to date, but as long as you're using a lot of those precautions together, then yeah, using Windows Defender just as the one antivirus on your machine, it's gonna be fine.
All it takes is one person in your corporate network or in your business to install something they shouldn't on their machine, and suddenly they have opened up the entire network to all the things. Or, for example, all the ransomware stuff. We were seeing that huge.
That was huge.
Until kind of sort of the websites and, I should say, the browser manufacturers and the antivirus crews kind of got on top of that. There were some. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, education is a big problem in the industry, in all industries really, as far as computer security and privacy. So educating the users that are on the machines that you are managing or that you're administrating to people, as well as anybody that you're employing too. It's really smart to educate them as far as good internet hygiene goes.
Seriously, if you have a whole lot of PCs in your house and you're concerned about where, say, the teens attempt to download free games or dad's terrible email thread links that have them browsing in strange and awful places, McAfee not only gets excellent ratings at avtest.org and PCMag.com, the license gets you coverage for 10 devices in your house.
Wow.
So if you take a look over here, like here's PCMag ratings, McAfee Antivirus Plus, Norton Antivirus Basics. You might not get these $19.99 prices, but for example, hey there, that's $40 instead of $90 for Norton. And if you go over here to the McAfee, oh, look at that. 10 devices for $20, $40 off the regular price for that. So definitely shop around because those are huge discounts.
Yeah.
I like the idea of paying $35 instead of $100 or $20 instead of $60.
Couponing is always a good thing.
Couponing is a good thing, and McAfee, 10 licenses for how much is that? Oh my goodness. Okay, it's $44.99 for 10 devices. $40 for 5 devices, like $20 or $25 for a single device.
I always aim for the free antivirus that's out there, like AVG is one that I've used a lot. Avast, yeah, Bitdefender is a great one. So, but of course, with a lot of those, you do have the option to donate, and I always highly suggest donating to those companies because they do a lot of good work as well. But let us know which one you decide to go with, and if you decide to stick with Norton, we would love to know as well. And if anybody out there has any questions about antivirus or anti-malware, make sure to email us, ask@tekthing.com.
Before anyone emails, I'd like to point out it's the Antivirus Plus gets you 10 seats for $20, and McAfee Total Protection for 10 devices is $45. Lots of subtle differences.
Yes.
A lot of times, the more expensive, like if you're already running a like a 2FA, if you're already running a password manager and other tools, you may not want the more expensive anti-malware, anti-software. Yeah, shop carefully. There's money to be saved.
So, moving on from antivirus, I had a big question in my mind because of something that Amazon just introduced. I was asking myself, is it time to replace my Logitech Harmony remote? What are you doing?
I'm doing that thing you do, when you touch shiny
everywhere?
black objects.
Yes, well, it is a shiny black object, but that is the Amazon Fire TV Cube, which you can currently purchase over on Amazon.com for $119.99. And yes, it is a black box of doom that goes underneath your TV, and it gives your entertainment area some smarts, along with the Fire TV UI and that experience. I believe we have shown the Fire TV UI on the show before when we were way back at the warehouse, so I won't go over that in too much detail, but it's basically the same thing.
Is this essentially an Amazon Echo, the love child of an Amazon Echo and an Amazon Fire TV?
Yeah, it totally is.
I don't want to say the ALEXA word.
No, I'm just calling her the A word today, which could be deemed as a curse word, but whatever. The box itself is just like an Echo or a Dot. It has the A word built in so that you can use it for your regular Echo voice commands. So you can can say, what's the weather today? What's on my schedule for tomorrow? Add ice cream to my shopping list, or turn on the studio lights, whatever you want, and it works wonderfully. Nicely, it still has that excellent beamforming technology, and it also has, if you look at the top of it, it has 8 microphones that are built in. So when I was commanding it to do voice, it had no trouble understanding me, even with the TV playing in the background or my husband playing games in the other room. No problems there. Better yet, if you just want to use it as an echo, you can leave the TV off and it will still get triggered with the wake up word, and it has this nice blue sensor on the front that still lights up. Pretty cool. And if you already have other echoes in your household, that's really easy to understand. Awesome. But what really brings it to life is its usage as a media player. So when you plug it into a TV or an entertainment system via the HDMI port on the back, and FYI, no HDMI is included in the box. I think that they should have included one because it's like $5 on Amazon, so no big deal there. Then you get access to the Fire TV GUI, and that has things like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, several live TV and TV applications available to download. You can log into them, view your favorite content. It works just like an Apple TV or a Roku. A YouTube app is not included, but you can view that through Silk or Firefox browser add-ons. Keep that in mind, no YouTube is included on this little baby.
That's part of the ongoing battle between Google and Amazon, who are just basically being a pain in the ass for consumers everywhere, much like Apple and Google and Microsoft, and everybody's fighting, and it's a pain in the ass.
Yep, so it's super easy to use and manage and browse through. It can play up to 4K Ultra HD at 60 FPS and HDR. I didn't have a 4K TV to test this on, so I just did HD. Neat, but I already have a Roku and I have a Logitech Harmony, so what makes this special other than the voice commands? So its special power, if you will, comes from its ability to control your system. So when you first set it up, it will ask you if you want to set it up to control things like your TV, or what?
I'm laughing because there are more IR blasters stuffed into this thing. Like literally the reason the sides are like that is because there's IR blasters going everywhere.
All over the place. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it's actually really cool technology. So you can hook it up to control your soundbar, your DVR, your game consoles, your AV receiver, etc., etc. Pretty much anything that plugs into your TV, it will hopefully recognize, with some caveats. Of course, it's not going to recognize everything, but for my devices, I found that I needed to turn them on and have them near the Fire TV so that it would see the IR sensors for each device. Luckily, the Fire TV does come with a spare IR sensor just in case you want to hide it in a closed media console, or if you have other devices that are in a closed media console and you want to have this right next to them, you can totally set it up that way and then have that extra IR blaster somewhere else. You go through the setup process, telling it what you own, and then once it's finished, it'll be able to turn on and off the items as you wish. It can change inputs, it can turn the volume up and down, etc. Now, for example, I had it hooked straight into my TV, so I would tell it, "Hey, turn on my TV," or "Turn off my TV," with no problems whatsoever. I could say, "Hey, turn on my Roku," or "Hey, switch to my Roku." Switch to Roku.
Okay.
Alexa, switch to Fire TV.
Okay.
Or when on the Roku, I could tell it, switch to the Fire TV. And it had no issue switching the inputs back and forth. It worked flawlessly. But the problem was it was very slow at switching those inputs. So it would think about it for a second and be like, okay, I understand what you want. Let me just change this input. Okay. Let me turn on your Roku and your soundbar. Okay.
I have this horrible mental image of it going like, she said something, and then it goes to the computer in Seattle, then it comes back to your box, and then it gives out a command.
Yeah, it's a little slow, but it worked every time, so if you don't mind it being really slow. There are certain things that you can or can't do with different devices, which is honestly kind of hard to memorize because there's so many different ways that you can say things, and if it's not your natural voice, it takes some education on your part to get used to. For example, luckily, Amazon does have a website where they kind of describe some of these things you can do, the Fire TV Cube, voice control compatibility, and they go through a bunch of different brands that it does work with and different things that you can say. So luckily, I was able to kind of catch on pretty quickly, but there were a few times when I messed up when I was talking to it and I had to redo my sentence so that it understood what I actually wanted. It also did really well when I wanted to watch specific content on the Fire TV. Now, this won't work for other devices like my Roku, so I can't say, say, watch Netflix on my Roku. It's not going to know what I want to do. It's just going to switch that input and that's it. But if I'm on the Fire TV, I can say, search for Sailor Moon, and then it will find Hulu's offering of Sailor Moon, and it will start to play it for me. Cool. I also said, search for Coco. You know that new Pixar movie by Disney, which is, I haven't watched it yet, but everybody told me I should, so it came to mind. But it pulled up a definition of Coco the chocolate.
The breakfast drink.
And I was just like, it's not what I wanted. So that was annoying. It didn't bring up Netflix's playback of the new movie Coco. So then I would say, watch Coco on Netflix. And then it found it for me.
It seems like one of the issues with the early Fire TV devices is you would ask it, and it would be like, you can buy this on Prime!
Yes.
And they've gotten beyond that, but I still don't think they're as good as Apple TV or Roku with the sort of universal search.
Yeah, and that's also something that I had an issue with. For example, I wanted it to find scary or horror movies, and it pulled up Supernatural. That's a TV show, so obviously it didn't work so well. And then like 3 pages down the list, I had options for scary movies or horror movies. And I was just like, why are you giving me TV shows, Fire TV? That's not what I wanted. I wanted to watch a scary movie for 2 hours, not Dean and Sam, which, I mean, they're super attractive, but I didn't want to watch them at that time. So turning up the volume or lowering it obviously was no problem at all. When searching from home, it definitely leaned towards recommending items from Amazon Prime, like you mentioned. Yeah, no shock there. But if that item was available on another application for free, it would show that to you as well.
Oh, that's
so you
good.
could click in and decide to play it on Netflix instead. The remote was useful for quiet functionality. I'm going to say quiet because it makes sense to me, like moving around menus, so you can do that with the little trigger buttons. It also has a mic on it, so what you can do is hold down the little trigger button and say, play Sailor Moon. Or you can also pull it far away from you and it will work as well. So I could say play Sailor Moon and it will recognize my voice and go ahead and find Sailor Moon. And it'll switch without needing to say the wake word, which is really nice, so you won't have to like talk to it from far, far away and say the wake word every single time. It also worked from far away, which was this big plus for me. No volume controls though, which I was kind of shocked about. So you can't control your TV with volume controls on the remote. You have to speak to the little microphone on it every time you want to lower the volume or raise it back up. But here's the thing, you still need other remotes. I could see you rubbing your head. That's how I felt when I was just like, I just want to turn the volume up and down.
I mean, it took them several thousand years, but even the Apple TV can now control the volume on your devices.
Yeah, and that's why you still need other remotes. If you want to switch to an input that is not compatible with the Fire TV, you need your separate remote. You want to move around menus on your Roku, you need your remote. It only switches to those other inputs. It does not control them once you are there, and that's the important little process that you need to deal with here. It's not a universal remote killer, but it is a media player with A built in. So if it is your first media player, or if you have limited mobility, or if you want the ease of using it as an input switcher, that's pretty cool.
Or if Amazon pretty much controls your media lifestyle.
Exactly, yeah. Then it's cool. It would absolutely work with you. It works great for that. I would love to see a firmware update so that it allows for faster response times in between commands, because at the moment, my Roku is faster and my Logitech Harmony remote is faster. That's exactly how I felt. So other than the super cool voice control, it doesn't do anything that my Logitech Harmony remote can't. And in that way, I was a little let down, but at the same time, I understand, like, if you don't already have a Harmony remote or a media TV controller, then this is really cool. And it's probably something that you would enjoy buying.
This kind of, we did the Kavo review a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
There's voice control for complicated media setups is difficult,
it is.
And if you are quick with the thumb, it is slow enough to drive you mad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that I dealt with when I was playing with the Amazon Fire TV Cube. It is really cool. I don't think I need it, so I purchased this, so I'm going to send it back and request a refund because I don't need it in my life.
And there's
but
no
maybe
volume
you
control.
Do. There is no volume control. That drives me bonkers. Come on, Amazon. But I would love to know what you think and if this is something that would fit into your lifestyle. Obviously, it didn't for me, but it might for you. And there's, other than the slowness of this, I think that it would work for a very wide audience.
And the volume
I'm just not
control.
in that audience. and the volume control. I would love to know what you think at Snubs on Twitter, or you can email me, ask@tekthing.com. I would love to read your replies and comments below as well.
We love your questions, your tips, and your suggestions of products and ideas to check out. Do us a favor, tweet at TekThing, at Snubs, at Patrick Norton, or just email ask@tekthing.com. You can't see it right now, but there is some very unusual dancing going on just to my left. Be careful, people. It's dangerous out there. And a big shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/TekThing. Is that your happy dance, Shannon?
Yes.
Patreon.com/TekThing. You pay the bills, you make the show possible. Our thanks to you. Join the crew that makes TekThing happen at patreon.com/TekThing, because eating makes Shannon dance. Show him the dance. Oh my goodness. Thank each and every one of you for watching the show, and especially those of you that support us on patreon.com/TekThing. Look, you made Shannon dance.
Woo!
Paul and at TGA615 has some ideas for Frank. Remember Frank? Frank had the question about dual booting Windows and Linux last week. First up, let's take a look at the gray area, TGA615. He tweets, another good option for testing Linux is running in a VirtualBox or VMware that will let you investigate and run multiple distros without dual booting.
Oh, yes.
How did we not remember VM?
How did I forget it? I did VMs on Hack Tips like years ago. Maybe it's because I don't use VMs anymore.
Well, there are lots of good options. VirtualBox, virtualbox.org.
VirtualBox is awesome.
Yeah, VirtualBox is awesome and kind of open sourcey. And of course, there is VMware Workstation Pro. VirtualBox, open source hypervisor, runs on Linux, Mac OS, Windows, Solaris, and Open Solaris, because it was bought by, it was like Sun, and then Sun got bought by Oracle. And in any case, it should still be open source. VMware's Workstation 14 Pro or VirtualBox, probably a really good way for anybody to experiment. There's so many ways to experiment with all the operating systems in sort of a virtual sandbox, safely contained on your machine.
It's also very useful if you are getting into penetration testing, because if you accidentally download malware that you want to, check or test or whatever, you don't download it onto your hardware, which is always a good thing.
You download it to the
VMs.
virtual hardware.
Yes, use VMs for testing things.
So weird. We also got an email from Paul who writes, hi folks, thanks again for all the hard work on TekThing and Hack 5. With regard to Frank's question about dual booting Linux this past week, I would have suggested two more options. Number one, a Raspberry Pi. Number two, use a free hypervisor like VMware or VirtualBox. The Pi is cheap enough to fail, $100 fully kitted out, and the hypervisor offers a safer alternative than re-imaging his computer. Speaking of which, there are now free versions of vSphere and ESXi from VMware. Have you considered reviewing them? Best, Paul.
I don't even know what those are. I've never used them before.
I looked them up. First thought, I might substitute running Linux standalone on an older PC for Raspberry Pi. Although if you're mostly getting your command line on, the Pi is fairly snappy. If you're using the GUI on the Pi, you're going to have to be not as patient as you have to be while
playing with the Fire TV cube.
Fire TV changes, but it takes a little bit of patience. vSphere is probably a little beyond us. It's a data center virtualization, a hybrid cloud tool. And seriously, really is probably a bit beyond what we could cover on TekThing. But we would love to hear from the TekThing audience with any experiments or experience with vSphere or ESXi.
That sounds like iSCSI.
iSCSI.
I don't think it is.
It's not. It's not. It's another server level VMware emulation.
That sounds more like something Hack 5 or an enterprise show would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really do enterprise on TekThing.
No.
Occasionally.
We do the consumer stuff.
Consumer is much more manageable.
Yeah.
If you got some thoughts on running virtual machines, if you're running a virtual machine, if you have recommendations for setting up a virtual machine, especially if you have minimum specs you would recommend, do us a favor, email ask@tekthing.com. We love to hear from you.
We got a great tweet from @JasonCo. He says, thank you, Patrick Norton and Snubs. Deleted something today I shouldn't have. Pulled it from backups in seconds. TekThing. Cool.
There was a smiley face in there.
Hooray! I'm so glad you were able to find the thing that you lost. Backups are so important.
Operating system crashes, dead hard drives, ransomware, loss of your laptop, theft of your computer. If you're backing up, especially online, your data will be there waiting for you as soon as you get a replacement machine in your hands. And seriously, online backup, not expensive. Pound, thanks, BackBlaze.
BackBlaze!
Thanks, SpiderOak.
I love SpiderOak. Go make sure that you are backing up, or at least drop the really critical files onto a thumb drive. Maybe stick that thumb drive in a safe or something.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you have a backup somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a cloud if you don't want to, or you don't want to put the money towards it, but thumb drive works.
The baby pictures, the wedding pictures, the financial data,
Yes.
your thesis, whatever's important.
All the things.
Make a second copy.
My Sailor Moon collection photos.
2, 1. And a big thank you to Hack5 for the studio space. If you haven't, please check out the Security and Privacy podcast right over here at hack5.org. And then, ladies and gentlemen, check out the superior pen testing and USB automation tools over at hack5.org/gear. And if you haven't checked it out, look, kids, it's a land turtle. Or wait, is that a USB Ethernet adapter?
Oh, I don't know.
Or a discrete remote access tool?
I don't know. IT says do not remove, so you better not remove it. On a little handwritten note.
hack5.org/gear/land-turtle. It is fascinating. And if you're a sysadmin, possibly terrifying. Just saying.
And remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close the laptop, and do something analog. Like Sandrine at WildTiger23, who said on Twitter, "When I'm not geeking or working, I am doing some analogic activity on my spare time. I'm volunteering for the SPCA Montreal, a shelter for animals in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, at TekThing show at Snubs." Dude, Sandrine, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your work. That's incredible. And she's holding a bunny. Ah, so cute.
It is alarming how many rabbits have shown up in the animal center in Alameda, where I live.
Really? Bunnies? Oh, man. Well, Sandrine, you are doing excellent work. We appreciate you so much. Volunteering at animal shelters is so important. And if you can donate to those shelters, like give them litter or give them like newspaper clippings or whatever they can use.
Or volunteer.
Food. Yeah, all of those things are so important. So thank you so much for your hard work. That's really, really awesome.
We rescued another puppy last Saturday.
What?
Did
you keep it?
No, we took it to the local shelter. Oh. Well, the boys were all ready to have a second dog in the house. Now it's like, if Lupin was missing, wouldn't you want someone to try to return Lupin to us? They were like, yes.
There was a cat on my back patio this morning, and I was just about to adopt it, but it ran away.
Or just put food out.
Yeah, I might.
We've had a cat
Don't tell Keith.
we've been feeding for like 5 or 6 years in our backyard. Mousy!
Anyway.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morris.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. There's nothing wrong with keeping a garden cat.
A garden cat.
That's what we called it. Cinder, our garden cat.
That's so cute.
It's great. Like,
yeah, he just showed up on the, or maybe it was a girl. They just showed up on the back porch, and my cats were doing the whole that gurgly like growl.
oh, yeah, when they're like, away! Hellspawn
like,
Satan, exterior cat.
I was in the other room. I thought Starbuck was growling at Luna because she wanted to steal her food. So I was about to go up in there and be like, Starbuck, no, bad kitty. But she was growling at a cat on the back porch. So I went in there and I was like, stop. Oh! So I grabbed out my phone and took a little recording. And I was like, who are you? Who are you? And then they ran away.
Spit out some food.
Yeah, I think
preferably where your cats can see it. That'll really piss them off.
Oh, that would be so
You're
mean.
feeding the outside cat?